Hey everybody, welcome back to another Escape from Tarkov guide video. Today I'm going to be covering some powerful mid-range builds for DMRs that will provide a solid platform to compete with even the best meta guns. For the gun builds featured, I'll be recommending a specific ammo type for each. I'm going to detail these ammos now so that you guys have that information right away and I can just tell you the ammo to use and you understand the reason right away. First off, 762 by 51 NATO. The two ammo types I'm suggesting are M80 and M61. M61 has 78 pen, or penetration, 70 flash damage, and 83% armor damage, and generally does more damage to armor than M80, but to unarmored targets won't kill them as quickly. M80 has 41 pen, 80 flash damage, and 66 percent armor damage. M80 is much cheaper and still a high-performing round, so when using a full-auto gun like the MDR762 or FAL, it's normally a better choice because you aren't shooting 100 ruble or 1000 rubles per shot, and especially because players are more likely to use full-auto with those guns and spray at enemies instead of tap-firing a few shots at a time. For 762 by 54R, my recommendation is SMB. Currently, it's about 100 rubles more per round than LPS GZH, but has 20 more penetration, so it'll be no problem with armor. It has 6 less flash damage than LPS sitting at 75, but in general that's not an issue. People will say to use 7N1 because it one-taps chests, however it currently costs 700 rubles from Prapper and about 1300 on Flea, whereas SMB is about 500 rubles Flea and from Prapper. Not to mention, in an update not so far out, 12.7, Thorax health is going to be increased to 85, which would eliminate the one-tapping potential, aside from headshots. But all these bullets can one-shot headshots, so that doesn't matter. Now, onto the guns. Starting us off, we have the M1A. The build I'm choosing to go with starts with an M1A SAS. You can pick one of these up on Flea for about 90-210k, and this provides us with a solid chassis. Besides that, use an assault scope with 4x potential of your choice. For this build, I used a hammer with a delta point sight above. I used an RBG foregrip, an EMOD stock 20 round magazines, a KEC QDS flash hider, and a KEC rear and front sight for a 2 ergo boost. With this setup, you can also throw a KC suppressor for about 330 USD or 39k onto the gun as well, as the flash hider is the muzzle adapter for this. For the M1A, I suggest you use M61. As mentioned before, because you will be tap firing, having the extra penetration power will be very useful, and you aren't likely to fire all of your bullets at one target and be out 60k in ammo. You'll want to treat this DMR as a combat DMR. It's both capable in long range and CQB, though generally not as strong as a true AR. The stats for the M1A are 65 ergo, 86 vertical recoil, and a 1.09 MOA of accuracy, pre-bullet stats. Secondly, we have the SVDS. I would suggest not using this in the same way as the M1A. It still performs well in CQB and at range, but is generally worse than the M1A for CQB because it has worse ergo and much higher recoil. Personally, I like to use it as more of a sniper DMR, engaging targets from 100 plus meters. The advantage of the SVDS is that SMB is much cheaper than M61 for a functionally same bullet. For this build, I purchased an SVD from Flea for about 55 to 65k, a Tapco SAW pistol grip from Peacekeeper, an Ismash handguard from Flea or Prapper 3, an M-Lock 4.1 inch guide, an RVG grip, a canted sight, a cross slot delta point mount, a delta point sight for the slot, and then I use 20 rounders if you can get them, or otherwise use the 10 round mags. As mentioned before, SMB is my recommended ammo type of use. As a side note, if you can afford a Fortis shift grip or have it unlocked from Peacekeeper, you can use that for 1% more recoil, but a few more ergo. And you can also swap out the pistol grip later when you unlock the RK3 pistol grip. And what I mean by more recoil is that you're losing some recoil control for more ergo. Without the Fortis shift grip, the gun ends up with 146 vertical recoil, 36 ergonomics, and an accuracy of 1.03 MOA in the configuration I have shown. Due to the really low ergonomics, it makes it hard to ADS with the gun, so if you're in a CQB situation, you may have to rely on being prone or attaching a laser sight / flashlight for additional hipfire accuracy. Next up, we have the SR25. This gun can be purchased for about 60k on Flea. My suggested ammo for this one is M61 like the M1A for the same reasons as the M1A. For the build itself, after purchasing the gun from Flea, go ahead and grab a 20-inch barrel from Peacekeeper. The money we save from buying off Flea will be used for this. Strip the 16-inch barrel gas block and flash hider, but put them on the new barrel. Now we need an M-Lock 4.1 guide, an RVG foregrip, a Hogue Black pistol grip, and a hammer with a delta point sight on top, or your choice of 4x culminator. As with the M1A, you can spend another $39K to have the suppressor edited gun, as the default flash hider for the SR25 is the one that supports that. Overall, you end up with stats of 59 ergo, 125 vertical recoil, and an accuracy of 1.09 MOA. Now, you might be wondering why I even suggest running this gun when the M1A is cheaper, has more ergo, and less vertical recoil. And that is a good question. My answer is this. Currently, the M1A is OP. It is better than the RSS and SR25, but in the future I believe this will change and they will be better than the M1A, albeit keeping the more expensive price tag for better stats. Aside from that, the reason I would run this right now is because it sounds awesome, the actual sound of the gun is pretty amazing, it's still a great gun and looks much cooler than the M1A, and I'm a sucker for the sounds and looks of guns. I'm actually having to jump in here for a second, guys, because as I'm making and finishing the video off, I've realized something. The SR25 is actually cheaper than the M1A by about 7K, so I'm incorrect in saying that it's more expensive. However, the ergonomics and the recoil are still quite vastly different and higher than the M1A, so the M1A is still a much better choice even though it costs 7K more. The last gun I'm featuring on this list is going to be the MDR762. You might question why I have a full auto gun on this list, and the reason for that is that even though the MDR is full auto, it still performs better as treated like a DMR that has full auto. It has high recoil, and full auto should be saved for those oh beep moments and not relied on. For this build, I choose to go with M80 because there will be those moments when you rely on full auto, and when using full auto because of your fire rate, the M80 rounds will perform perfectly fine and for much cheaper. The build itself is pretty basic, there isn't a lot of modding needed for this gun. You can buy the base gun for about 75 to 85k on Flea, again choosing your 1x/4x of choice. I go with the hammer again. Grab an M-Lock 4.1 and slap another RVG foregrip onto the gun. Put another KAC flash hider on there so that you have the option to go suppressed for another 39k. The gun is now done and has stats of 84 ergo, 100 vertical recoil, and an accuracy of 1.29 MOA before adding a suppressor. Overall, the gun will perform much better than the others in CQB, but suffers at distance relative to others because of its lower accuracy. When more DMR guns come out along with new parts, the builds here will change, and it's likely that the M1A will be nerfed. I know that I could have covered the RSS for the same reasons as the SR25, but I chose not to because it and the SR25 are similar stat-wise and cost-wise. They do look quite different, so the choice of that can change which one you might choose. They also have the same godly sounds. Also, remember that my advice for ammo types is my preference. If you prefer to use another ammo type for whatever reason, don't let me stop you. Play the game the way you see fit. These are just suggestions. Thank you guys for watching. I know this is quite a bit longer than my previous videos, but I felt that was necessary. The next video is likely going to run for about the same time, as I'm planning to cover ARs in a similar fashion. If you guys enjoyed the video, please subscribe as it keeps you up to date on when I release new stuff, and like the video as it helps the YouTube algorithm to suggest my content to others. I also stream Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so you can go follow me on Twitch using the link below and catch me live. If you want to chat with me, I also have a Discord with an invite link down below. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.